Yo, what's good guys, it's Down. Today we're gonna go over every shoe made in season 2 of my 1-hour shoe painting series. Before we get to all these shoes, guys, we are less than 20,000 subscribers away from 1 million. If you could, please hit that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. And now let's cover the shoes. Now, guys, before we get to all the shoes, I have a sad story. Most of these shoes I stored in our little wine cellar basement. It's kind of a storage area for us. And it flooded, so a lot of these shoes are particularly nasty. Some of them are missing, some of them are here, but kind of messed up. For example, this one is all kind of grungy. But let's get started right now. I did what I called cherry chucks to start this season off. Now these are actually one of my favorite ones I did, but I messed up. This cherry is way too big. It looks like an apple. These, cherry stems look great. I think the laces complemented the shoe well. The red line from the shoe itself is good, and this one also feels kind of musky and weird. Jesse's shoe, he won the first episode of the season. He made these Spider-Man themed Converse. We got, both Spider-Man textures. And again, this is another one that I think he's got the navy, works well with the navy line going around the shoe. He's got the red, works well with the red. This was a cool shoe, and it won the first episode. Oh, and hey, our first missing shoe, Chris's Converse. I have no idea where it is. Maybe got lost in the flood. Okay, the next episode was NMDs. These were Mopey's NMDs. They were like a Gucci themed. He kind of did like a really big paint, I don't even know what it's called. So he kind of dolloped the paint on, which actually did get some cool texture. I do remember though that when we filmed it, it was still extremely wet when the judge kind of looked at it. So it looked a lot more like a mess than an intended kind of cool wavy design that it ended up being. So these shoes actually aged better than they looked in the moment, which this might be the only shoe that applies for. But some of the paint kind of just dolloping it on did create really cool patterns on the back. I think this is actually water damage on this one from flood. This was my shoe from the NMD episode. I tried to do a casino theme, and honestly, without a stencil, I think these shoes really did fall flat. It had the carbon fiber, the black tag, so red and black was kind of the color of the shoe. So I tried to go for a casino theme with the card suits, and I really don't think I pulled it off. I don't get the spacing between them wasn't right, all that wasn't right. But again, you only have an hour. I did what I could. I think the concept was dope on this one, but the execution was a complete failure. Next, I believe this was the winning shoe from this episode, if I'm not mistaken. This is Mitchell's shoe from that episode. Pretty simple, just dots on the all-white Adidas stripes, a little Cartoon Network logo on the tongue, and Dexter, the cartoon character, on basically the tongue, or not the tongue, the toe area of the shoe. Pretty cool, pretty minimalistic shoe. Final shoe from that episode was Jesse. He did this kind of tie-dye NMD. And a lot of people did feel like he got robbed on this episode. I feel like the design shoes tend to have an edge over the more color shoes in this series for, people just tend to like designs on custom shoes. But in reality, most shoes we wear are colorway based. So this shoe is actually pretty dope. It does have some water damage along where, the colors are meeting the foot. That's from the flood. But ultimately, this was a cool shoe. Jesse was the first person to really use the water paint mixed together to do his shoe. I dipped my laces in the water a lot, but Jesse kind of invented this flow. So this is Jesse's shoe from that episode. I think it's pretty dope. All right, the next shoes we did were Air Forces. This was my Air Force. I kind of went with like a South Beach theme. And honestly, just not a clean paint job, not the greatest job with this one. I tried to do a black outline because I don't know, for some reason I feel like the pink shouldn't touch the green. I feel like they don't go together without the little barrier between them. Ultimately, I think this shoe is a good idea, but another one of mine that I would say had poor execution. So moving on. This was Mopey's shoe from that episode. It's kind of like a beach ball theme. It also kind of reminds me, I think his original intention was like a race car, not a beach ball, but we've got the blue, the red, the yellow, and the 51, which I believe is Mopey's favorite number. So that's how we ended up with this shoe. It's a nice, clean colorway. Oddly enough, I think I like this shoe, weirdly enough, like his Gucci ones. I like it more now than I did. It was kind of weird with the black on one side, the white on the other. I think I might have left those both white. But no, this was a cool shoe too. Nice clean paint job. The next shoe from the Airports episode, this was Jesse's. He did a cartoon theme. He's been doing that a lot lately on this series. So cartoon themed Air Force, pretty simple, pretty straightforward, but well executed, and the winning shoe from that episode. And then we have Mitchell's shoe, which is just, again, a nice clean swooshes and toe box paint job with a nice kind of cool duck camo pattern, purple, clean. I just noticed now for some reason he tried to do the air on the back, only did the eye, and he did the stripe on the side. So this was a cool, nice, clean shoe. maybe a little too basic. The next shoe is the Air Max 90. No, this is like a 97.
Don't think so, yeah.
Next shoe is the Air Max. I don't know which Air Max model. Sorry. This is probably the weirdest shoe we've painted on. You can't really do much with the shoe. It's got a variety of textures. Some take paint well, some don't. This was Jesse's. He tried to do his own take on a South Beach colorway. I can't tell if the paint is completely eroded because it was a bad paint job or because the shoe is a part of the flooding. Coming off the NMD and the Air Force Ones, maybe not his best work. This was Mopi's Air Max Black. Same blue as Jesse in the purple. The blue is filled in nice. The black is filled in nice. Just a nice colorway shoe. I'm not really sure about the black chunk on the bottom, but again, this was a hard shoe to really kind of get right. My shoe, this was the first episode we did that had accessories. So I have like LeBron's head on the laces. I have these lace caps on the ends of the laces. I'll be honest, the reason I did accessories on this is because I don't know if it shows well on the camera, but the paint job is not good with the purple. It's lighter at the top, more thick on the bottom. You can tell the paint job's not good. So honestly, I really just tried to mask my paint job with the black splatter. And honestly, the shoe doesn't really look that bad. I think it's kind of a cool concept, but maybe just the execution needed to be mixed up a little bit. Maybe a thicker splatter or less splatter. I'm not really sure what direction it needs to go, but this shoe had potential, just not fully executed. And here's Mitchell's Air Max. It's not actually here. I don't know where it went, but here's B-roll of it. The next shoe is the Stan Smith Adidas. This is a very simple, clean shoe, and this is one I was actually excited to work on. It's got a nice, simple leather kind of thing. You could do a lot with it. Mitchell did this kind of city on one side. I forget, there was supposed to be, I believe, mountains on this side. He ended up just blacking it out because he didn't like the way the mountains turned out. And this shoe is actually pretty cool because you could picture this being a real shoe, you know, if you had a symmetrical one with the city on the other one. Honestly, this is a well-executed, nice, clean shoe. Pretty much all of Mitchell's shoes have nice, clean paint jobs, which I like. Here's Mopi's Stan Smith. Jesse ended up winning this episode. He did a Rick and Morty themed shoe. The paint job is not very consistent. It was trash, as Chris would say, but the art on it is actually pretty cool. We got the Rick and Morty artwork, the portal in the middle, and yeah, just a nice, really cool, colorful shoe, very colorful. This was my shoe from that episode. This was actually my favorite shoe I made the whole season. I think the shoe just came out super clean, super cool. It almost looks like a designer shoe, even with goofy, googly eyes on it. The paint job is clean. There's no like splotches or anything. So I actually think this was the best shoe I've done across either series. This one didn't seem to get the love, so maybe I'm not seeing something everyone else is, or vice versa. And we're moving on to the next episode. The next episode was Jordan 1 Lows, which is actually a shoe I've been wearing a lot lately. Jesse did like an ice cream, the same black outline kind of cartoon style he kind of developed over the course of the season. And yeah, this is just a simple shoe. Not much else to say about it. Mitchell did this watermelon themed one, which I actually thought was really creative. Thought this was a cool idea. Unfortunately, it looks like the green paint really didn't have the most consistent coat. It's kind of funny, you forget these things over time. But honestly, this is one of those shoes that I think the idea alone was super cool, and maybe a winning shoe with slightly better execution. Mopi made this kind of tree themed shoe. I forget what the creature is supposed to be on the swoosh. I don't remember if it was a dragon or a lizard. But the highlight of the shoe is actually the brown parts, because in person it shows a bit better, but the shoe has a lot of like cool, like kind of bark. It almost looks like bark, and I actually think this I think this is Mopi's best shoe of the season. Just, it's nice and clean. The brown came out really good. There's almost no spots where the brown is touching an area of the shoe. I think I only see one tiny mistake across the whole shoe. Even on the clean ones in this video series, a lot of the times you can't really tell on camera, but in person you see them. But this one really doesn't have any mistakes. If maybe he just went with a solid green on the swooshes, or made it maybe look more like leaves, that maybe could have really won this episode, but clean execution on the shoe. Here was the winning shoe from that episode. This is what I did. This is basically the Obsidian UNC Jordan 1s, but a low version of it with a clean splatter effect. That was achieved by masking the shoe like crazy, and it really paid off. This is honestly, actually, between these two, it's hard for me to pick which one is my favorite. I think I do like this one a little bit more, but I'd probably wear this one more realistically. It looks like a more comfy shoe, a Jordan 1 versus Stan Smith. Now we're on to the slides episode. Jesse did these kind of psychedelic ones. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to finish these, and yeah. Here was Mitchell's. He did a very minimalistic Lakers slide, which for an hour, probably could have done more. Although it is kind of satirical, Jesus slide, left, kind of that off-white feeling, but almost more satirical because, I don't know. You know which sandal's a left sandal. Moby did like a beach gradient for this one. I remember he spent a lot of time masking, and it doesn't look like the masking totally worked, but the actual sandal itself does look pretty cool, nice and clean. This is probably the one most likely to be sold in a store. And here are my Minecraft ones. They went missing, so here you go. The final shoes were the off-whites. And speaking of missing shoes, I don't have Zach's shoe with me. Here is the B-roll from that. Since that episode, guys, I will say Zach did clean up the paint job on those shoes. So here's an updated photo of what they look like. We got Mitchell's shoe, which almost kind of reminds me of the Obsidian Jordan ones with the whole like navy in the front, lighter blue in the back, but it is more of a royal blue than a light blue in the back. So it's a different take on it. This shoe is really clean. I could see this being an actual colorway, maybe just adjusting the colors a little bit here and there, but honestly, this shoe just came out super clean, like a lot of Mitchell's shoes. Just nice, clean colorway. Here was my shoe from that episode. I wanted to keep that same theme. You can see I had the same thing as Mitchell, where I had a different color tone in the back and then the same in the front. Honestly, the shoe, I think maybe could have really been helped by one small change. And if this pink rose was one of these colors, I think it would have really defined the shape of the swoosh better. Honestly, I think the problem with this shoe is it almost, maybe I'd be doing too much, but it almost feels like there's not enough kind of crazy stuff going on with it. And I think that's why, you know, I didn't win. I am proud of this shoe. It came out nice, it's clean, there's no mistakes on it. Moving on to the last shoe, which was Jesse's shoe. And this was the winning shoe of the off-white episode. Originally, the shoe was gonna be completely different colors, but Jesse completely changed the red to black. He added the cartoon theme, which he's been doing throughout the season. And these came out really clean. It's actually funny, I didn't notice this while we were filming, but I can really see the red underneath the black. But that's just something I guess doesn't really show up well on camera, which is interesting. Because I think I said this last time we did a big collection video, but a lot of the times comments are like, why didn't X win? And it's like, it's kind of crazy in person, that painting imperfections you can see that you don't see on the camera. So that's why, you know, if you guys don't agree with the judges, just remember they're seeing little details you might not be seeing. I think the judges have been pretty fair throughout the season. This shoe is really cool. Definitely a winning shoe in my eyes. Paint job is really clean. There's no like mistakes with the paint job. It's a solid coat of yellow throughout. And it just looks good. So those were all the shoes from season 2 of 1 Hour Shoe Painting. Here are my top 3. Now this is bad. These are all of my shoes, but you know, I made them. It's my personal taste. I have my Minecraft slides at 3. I think this was the second best shoe of the season, and I think this was the best one. Even though it didn't even win its episode, I just love this shoe. I don't know, I just think the shoe's a cool aesthetic. I'd love to see a shoe like this come out. And yeah, let me know which 3 were your favorites, guys. I'm curious. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Links to all the shoe paintings from this season are linked down below if you want to see us making them, if you missed any episodes. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Peace.